Welcome back to another live and amplified Hoedown Showdown special. I'm your host, Tom Quiet. We're sitting here with another special guest. We got Whitney Miller. How's it going today?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, excited to sit down and chat with you, another fellow Texan.
That's right.
I feel like ever since we switched formats on everything, all the Texans are starting to come out of the woodwork.
Ooh.
And the Bostonians, for some reason.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You have a Sox hat on.
Yeah.
I see that.
Well, Chicago. This is Chicago, but
Okay.
Yeah. No, for whatever reason, Texas and Boston have been like the two fastest growing interest markets for us for some reason. So it's,
okay.
I mean, Texas makes sense, but Boston, that's kind of out of left field. So
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised by it too. And
Yeah.
you know, I'm a Texan, so I love my Texans are coming out.
yeah. So you grew up in Austin or around Austin, or
I grew up in Corpus Christi, Texas, so
Okay,
South
Corpus,
Texas,
yeah, okay.
and then went to school in Austin and just was there basically until I moved here to Nashville 2.5 years ago.
nice. What was growing up in Corpus Christi like?
Honestly, it was the best. I had a great time. I mean, we were always on the water, always on the beach. You know, I grew up, my dad raised me, so hunting and fishing constantly. And it was just like any sort of activity that we could possibly get our hands into or do, I was up to.
Nice. It's kind of like the best of both worlds. It's all the perks of Florida, but all the perks
Kind
of
of.
Texas.
Yeah, exactly. It's so
'Cause
true.
you got that Gulf Coast thing going on, and I'm sure hurricanes were probably a little bit of a concern, but probably not.
They were, I mean, but, you know, we were used to boarding up the
Yeah.
house. I also, you know, was a professional wake surfer in college.
Yeah.
So I grew up surfing. So
Nice.
anytime a hurricane would come through, we would grab our surfboards and go
Time to go.
surf.
Nice.
So it kind of worked out for us.
Fair. So where does music kind of come into play? Was it something that was always kind of there? Was your family musical, or?
So my grandfather actually went to Juilliard for singing.
Okay.
But he was the only one in my family who was musical or picked up an instrument or sang or did anything like that. And for me, I always wanted to sing my entire life. It was just something that I absolutely loved. But I was terrified of it. I had the worst stage fright. It was paralyzing. I could not get over this fear. So I think I did all of these other things to try to kind of mitigate that and maybe forget that I even wanted to sing. So I did Miss Texas and I won that, and I was Miss United States, and I, you know, went into fighting and commentating, and I just really thought that if I would get that one accomplishment, maybe I would forget that I wanted to sing, but that did not work.
Fair.
And it just got kind of louder, and so finally I said, you know what, screw it. This is time for me. I'm not going to end up on my deathbed running away from this fear of singing. So here we are.
Fair. Luckily, you had that realization, because a lot of people don't have that realization of, I don't want to be on my deathbed wishing I would have done something.
Yeah, you know, it got to a point to where it was more excruciating, and I use that word because it was very hard for me to keep this within myself and not do it, especially being someone who loves to live life and do these crazy things, and it was just one thing that I couldn't do, and I wasn't going to do that at all.
For sure. You casually glossed over a lot of things a few minutes ago, and I was sitting here trying to wrap my head around everything you just said. So you were a wakeboarder?
A wake surfer.
Surfer?
Taught wakeboarding.
You competed in Miss Texas and Miss USA?
Yeah, Miss Texas and Miss United States.
Miss United States.
And won both of those.
Okay. And then you were also a fighter?
Yep, that's right.
Boxing, MMA?
So I went to full MMA fight camp in Thailand, and then boxing fight camp in Santa Monica. And I trained MMA, but I did a lot of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournaments. Countless. I mean, maybe 50 or something like that. And then I took a boxing fight after that to kind of see how that would go.
Nice.
You know, I'm the type of person that just likes to be outside of the box, you know, and so I won Miss United States, and everyone at that point was like, what are you going to do now?
Right.
And I was a part of a company called On It. It had a lot of UFC fighters coming through, and so I started training just for fun.
That is the most Austin thing I think I've just heard.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because I tried, when On It was first out, I was using some of their stuff. Like,
oh, nice.
Because I was having trouble, like, sleeping, so I was using some of their, like, melatonin stuff.
Like New Mood, things like that.
I was using a lot of that stuff, and it really helped. And
I'm on Alpha Brain right now, actually.
I should be on Alpha Brain, but but no, that's cool. I just wanted to put a little bit more of a sunlight on that one because you
Yeah,
just
thanks.
casually gloss over that stuff, and it's like,
I know my manager's always like, "You've lived 9 lives.
Right.
It's just crazy."
Right.
And I honestly plan to live 9 more, so we'll see what
hey,
happens.
That works. So, focusing in on music because we are here at CRS.
Yep.
Where are you kind of at musically right now? What are you working on? What do you got coming?
Man, I am so excited about what I have coming out. You know, I have 4 singles out right now that was kind of a timestamp of where I was at that point in my life, and it's pretty straight down the line country with my Texas roots. I always push it a little more rock, but I'm finally at the point to where I'm just diving headfirst into roughing everything up, and I'm going very rock. We have a rock EP that's coming out this summer. Still country rock because I sing naturally with a twang, and we'll talk a little bit about things that country music does. But a lot of the instrumentals are going to be heavy guitars, big drums, really in your face, and we'll see how it's received. I don't really know if it's going to be in the country lane or the rock lane, but at the end of the day, like, this feels like me, and I don't really care.
Yeah. It seems like you're almost kind of running into a heavy red dirt kind of sound.
Not too much red dirt.
No,
it's more kind of like modern rock.
Okay.
I worked with a producer here, Andrew Bayless,
Okay.
who produces, Jelly Roll,
Yeah.
and he's done some work on Hardy and things like that. So saying a little bit like the female Hardy,
Fair.
harder rock with some country in it.
Because I got some friends in Texas that are trying to stay true to red dirt, but be different.
Yeah.
And so they've coined a phrase called black dirt.
Black dirt, okay.
And so it's kind of a heavier version of red dirt. Which
I love it. I mean, I think it's cool that there's so many facets to country music and music in general, you know. And I think about, being from Texas. Texans love their red dirt Texas music, and I grew up with that. So I have a little bit of influence in there, but I feel like the people that are doing it are crushing it. And for me, I'm just a little more out there, so I'm just following it.
Yeah. You see a world where you'd move back to Texas, or?
Oh, I mean, I go back to Texas every, 6 to 8 weeks. My family's still down there. But yeah, ultimately, I would love to split time fully. I don't know how long I'll be in Nashville. Maybe forever.
Yeah.
Maybe one day I'll have a big house here and a big house in Texas.
Fair. You better hurry up. Texas is getting expensive.
Oh my God! Well, it's getting expensive here too.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I was sitting there. I was talking to somebody the other day. I was like, I'd really love to move to Nashville, but I don't know if I could afford to live in Nashville.
It's wild. I was just having this conversation with somebody just right outside, and being an artist, you don't get into music to make money. That's for sure. I mean, unless you're the top 1%, you'll make some dough, but most of us are out here grinding and struggling, and so it's interesting to watch like who can afford to live in Nashville or how they're making that happen. And Austin was the same way. It started off as the live music capital of the world, and then it got super expensive, and it pushed a lot of the creatives out.
And now they're kind of landing in the suburbs, which is great because you go down to like New Braunfels on the river there, and some of the best musicians I've ever heard in my life just kind of plucking around the river, and it's like
so true.
It's crazy. But how often are you playing shows right now? Are you playing pretty consistently, or?
I've been focusing a lot on this project. I really wanted to kind of cut out a lot of the noise and just fully focus in on what I wanted to say, how I wanted to say it. I can't pinpoint an artist that's doing the lane that I'm doing right now, so that can be really kind of scary, but also really exciting. So I'm just making sure that I'm 100% full guns a-blazing going for it on this project. But I'm looking to tour in the fall. Awesome.
And just kind of real quick, looking at this project, how long have you been writing for this? Has this kind of been a long time in the making, or?
Yeah, it's been about a year and a half for this particular project. It was completed in January, and I sat with it some more, and it wasn't right where I wanted it. So I wanted to listen to that, tweak it a little bit more, and then we're already working on the second project, which is either going to be an EP or it's going to be 4 to 5 new singles. So it's everything's like finally coming together in a way that feels really good. But it is a lesson in patience. I'll tell you that much.
Oh yeah, it really is. Like the music industry, it's a lot like the film industry, where it's like, hurry up and wait.
Oh my gosh.
Get there, and then you wait.
Yeah.
And it's-
yeah.
yeah.
And then wait again, and then
Yeah.
wait again, and then you're waiting on other people who are waiting on other people, and I am not a patient person.
Right. Fair. Very fair. Very fair. So if anybody wants to check out the singles you have out now, the upcoming projects, just interact with you on social, where's the best place to find you?
Yeah, I mean, all across socials, all the good social media platforms, but Instagram, I'd say I'm most active, and it's Wit in Love, WHITNLOVE, and then Whitney Miller on Spotify, and hit that follow because we have a lot of new music coming this summer that you don't want to miss.
Awesome, awesome. And then before we wrap this up, what's one piece of advice you have for the young musicians out there?
Don't get lost in the sauce. You're going to hear 1 billion different things about what you should be doing, and at the end of the day, if you lay your head on your pillow and you feel good about what you're doing, that's all that matters. Truly all that matters. It might sound corny, but you don't want to be promoting music that doesn't feel 100% you. I promise you that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and we will catch you all later.
Thank you.